Rasengan.
Boruto's done for, no doubt, and we can't believe it. First of all, before we analyze and predict this more deeply, I want to say that this is really out of the ordinary. It's not just me, and I'm sure we all must be really surprised, confused somehow to describe this, but the most plot twist is when Koji says, if Boruto's done for, no doubt. If it's going to be like this in chapter 23, it's honestly hard to believe. But even if we don't believe it, it's at least a fact from a person with 10 direction Shinjutsu ability who sees the probability that Boruto will end up in the hands of Jura. So this is the most important part of the analysis or prediction for this video. First, regarding Boruto Otsutsuki's trump card. The narrator states that the Rasengan UZUHIKO, which is considered Boruto's trump card to defeat Jura, ends in despair. This is because the reincarnation of the Ten Tails possesses extraordinary abilities, durability, and defensive intelligence, making even Boruto's strongest jutsu or power completely ineffective against him. I admit that even we also agree that the reason for Uzuhiko's failure is Boruto not having the opportunity to collect planetary chakra to the fullest. Even ironically, let alone to collect planetary chakra, Boruto, who should have the option to escape even he can't. And that's at least what Koji said. Aside from the worst-case scenario where Boruto chooses to flee, the ones who would be at risk are his friends, and that alone would be a major problem. Not only would Boruto need time to concentrate and detect Metal's chakra, which is located far from his current position, but he would also face serious difficulty trying to fight Jura at the same time. This is Boruto's clear weakness if he doesn't use the shadow clone technique. But speaking of the so-called trump card, Rasengan Uzuhiko, is that truly Boruto's final move? Or could he still be hiding an even greater power capable of taking Jura down? Or worse, what if that really was his last resort? And now Boruto has no hope left, no choice but to surrender and let Momoshiki take over his body forever. But somehow I suspect that the answer is not there yet. If the reference and the foundation is based on the clue from the last quote at the end of the chapter, which states that the sound of the next step that will be heard is the sound of steps of despair. This means that Boruto has no other power that he can rely on to defeat Jura. But then again, if it's based on the narrator's quote at the end of the chapter. However, if it's based on personal analysis and taking other examples from several arcs, I believe Boruto hasn't completely lost hope of defeating Jura. Even if Boruto doesn't defeat Jura, at least Boruto won't end up here. After all, the reason Boruto couldn't win from Jura was because he didn't want to use Momoshiki's karma power. If Boruto uses his karma power to defeat Jura, then it is very easy for Boruto to be able to defeat Jura. But saying that this will be something easy, it seems that this cannot be declared absolute if it has not been proven. Moreover, Jura is the reincarnation of the Ten Tails, which is clearly different from the Ten Tails of Kaguya Otsutsuki, right? So what are the analysis and also predictions in the next chapter? I know that maybe many of you have heard from various predictions on the internet if Momoshiki will return in chapter 23, but before that, for some reason, right now I am very sure that it is time for Code or Kawaki, especially with the quote at the end that Boruto lost hope. The scene should have transitioned to something else like Code or Kawaki. After all, I highly doubt if Momoshiki possesses Boruto and this fight against Jura will end just like that. Yeah, I know Jura is supposed to lose, but not right now, and Boruto won't be so quick to give himself to Momoshiki, right? Moreover, we should all know that Boruto is a character who does not give up easily and despair. If the obstacle is only limited to this where he loses hope because his US card is useless, it will not make him desperate. Boruto must feel his helplessness first to help his friends from the threat of Shinju or even Jura itself. If Boruto already feels that way, it seems that only that can make Boruto start to feel hopeless. And if Boruto can't defeat Jura because he can't use his karma power, then only Kawaki can be the next hope. However, until now, we have not been able to confirm whether Amado agrees with the conditions proposed by Kawaki about his daughter who wants to be revived or not. And once again, in chapter 23, if it does not transition to Code, the scene should be Kawaki with Amado again as a climax, an answer to expectations based on the narrator's quote at the end of chapter 22. And this is part 2. We all know that Jura ignored Thornsoul Ryu because he wanted to focus on finding Boruto's whereabouts, but was it just a coincidence? I mean, was there another plan that Jura had? Although the priority of Konoha Ninja and Suna is to save Moegi and Shinki by getting Ryu and Matsuri's Togodama, but I don't think it will be that fast and it won't be that easy. From various scenarios, Hidari should appear to block them from taking the Togodama that Jura previously ignored. With two Togodama present in the same location, this becomes a perfect opportunity for Hidari, or perhaps another Shinju, to make their move. Moreover, Sumiyaka's body has not been destroyed yet, because after Mitsuki and Araya saw the Jura's arrival through the claw marks on Sumiyaka's body, they did not anticipate anything other than just an expression of anxiety while embracing the unconscious Sarada. After all, with Sarada's current condition completely exhausted due to running out of chakra and not even conscious yet, this story will be even more exciting if the continued battle between Sarada and Hidari is continued. The point is that Hidari comes when the condition of the Suna Ninja and Konoha is completely helpless after running out of chakra. There is no other choice but to fight to the end. And as the final conclusion, it begins with this. The failure of UZUHIKO, Boruto's ultimate trump card, has become a clear symbol of despair. And based on his nature and determination, who inherited the blood of UZUMAKI and HYUGA, Boruto will not easily despair and even just give up and let Momoshiki possess his body and control Boruto forever. Because after all, Boruto's current condition based on Chapter 16, his condition is already severe, especially about Momoshiki. Boruto can feel dying because Momoshiki possesses his body if he uses karma. Anyway, after all, I doubt that Boruto is meant to face the same tragic end as Eren Yeager, sacrificing himself to protect the world from a threat that endangers his village or even his own family. Especially not when it comes to the ones he loves the most, his friends and the girl he holds dearest, Sarada Uchiha. Secondly, Jura could have easily taken the Ryu's Togodama, but he chose to ignore it. It is a big question mark if this is not a coincidence for no reason. There will be a new scenario that will happen if Hidari or other Shinju come to take the Ryu's Togodama and Matsuri. But I rather suspect that Hidari will come to take their Togodama in the hands of Konoha Shinobi and Suna. And of those two possibilities, which one do you think is possible, guys? And finally, as a Boruto addict, I will continue to provide some analysis or predictions of the Boruto story while waiting for the latest chapter to come out. And whatever your opinion is, I will gladly accept it. Thanks for watching, like and subs, I'm Nim. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye, Dadabayo.